airplane engines and the tanks. And to reach a spark plug, take it out, you had to stand on your head, almost go down back to reach to find them, you know. And it was a tough situation. And when I went in, I was in it 3 years in the services, and I went to school. The first year I went into service, they sent me to school, mechanic school, body school, and all that stuff. I've been to Norfolk, Virginia, and another school. I remember the town. But anyway, did all that. And then I went for basic training. They took me down to Kentucky for basic training. And I'm a little guy, see. And they'd give me a pack and a tent and everything. We had to walk 10 miles for the last part of the training. And you made me carry the BAR, which is about that big, you know, and carried it and walking 10 miles up, 10 miles back. When I come back, my feet were all blistered, you know, to walk. You know. So it was a tough time. The rest of the basic training is normal Army stuff, training, exercises, and everything like that. But while I was in Germany over there, I was the first one overseas. My brother come in after, my brother Tony, he come in after, he was in the infantry. And while he was in the infantry, he stepped on a landmine, blew his leg off. And the Red Cross got a hold of me while I was there, got me all the way across back to Channel to Le Havre, all the way back to England to see my brother, then got me all back to the lines again. So that was quite a trip I had. Hitchhiked most of the way, you know, trying to get rides to the hospital, find out where it was and everything. But we fixed stuff that was behind the lines that would shot up, you know, put down like that. One day we were picking up a tank, and it was empty. Everybody in there was killed. And what happened, a German 88 shell went right through our domes, which are that thick. Went right through and spun around and killed everybody in there. And I saved that piece, and I was going to take it home with me when I went. But then they put us up, after the war was over in Germany there, they put us up in Le Havre, on the top of a mountain. They had the Cosmoline, all my stuff, all our equipment, truck. We had machine trucks. We had all kinds of trucks there. We could make parts and everything, you know. And it was very interesting. They told us we had the Cosmoline, everything, get it all back wrapped up and get it on the boat. Because when the war ended in Germany, they put us up on this Le Havre place and told us to do this. And so we're sitting there, doing nothing, you know. And then while we were there, all of a sudden we get a communication that says, the war with Japan is over. America drops an atomic bomb on Hiroshima. So after then from there, they sent us home. That was the last part of it. But the rest of the time, I went through France, Germany, all the way up to Belgium, and a little beyond Belgium. I was there. And then while we were there, we were sitting in a schoolyard, similar to this out here somewhere, and there was a plane flying over us. And it was just a lone plane. It wasn't even a fighter plane or nothing, it was just a plane. So all my men got up on the trucks. We had the 50 caliber guns on top, and everybody started shooting at it. Finally, he run out of gas, I guess, and he bailed out of the parachute. The plane come right down between two houses where we were, right down the basement, never burnt or nothing. And the pilot bailed out, and we picked him up after he got down, you know. But that was always first. But like I say, I was in maintenance. I was not in the front lines. I was behind the lines all the time, fixing trucks and jeeps and all the tanks and all that, put tracks on tanks and all this stuff. But it was an interesting thing. And I'm a little guy. You imagine me fixing a tank, trying to get a track, take 10 guys that move a track to get it around and put it back on, and you know, pin it and everything. It was pretty tough. But I managed through it, and it was a pretty good life. So we slept on the ground a lot of times. And then one night we took over a house for sleeping in for the night. We were there with all the equipment. They give you guard duty for that night, you know, certain ones had to do. we're sitting there. All of a sudden, one of my men comes in, drunker than hell. Real drunk. Has his beer, not a BR, was just a smaller gun. I forget the name of it. Anyway, he come in, he says he's going to shoot us guys. You know, whoa! I says, you ain't shooting anybody. So it took us about an hour to get that drunk calmed down to keep from shooting anybody of his own men. He was so drunk he didn't know where he was or what he was doing, you know. That was the only occasion where I was almost got killed. Other than that, I had a fairly decent tour of Germany. Belgium, I was in Belgium too. But it was a thing. But our job was to keep the vehicles and the tanks moving, you know. And then when there was tanks that broke down, that were shot up out in the field, we used to go pick them up. We had a big tractor trailer truck, diesel truck, with a huge bed in the back that we towed, and we had huge winches on there that we'd hook on these tanks and bring them all out and bring them in for service. They were serviceable, or we just junked them. And then after the war was over there, you wouldn't believe this, guys and girls. The equipment we had over there was unbelievable. Your naked eye could never see the end of tanks, jeeps, trucks, trailers, anything you want. All in the field after the war went over. It just, everybody was going home. Everybody brought the equipment and all stayed there. And they finally, what happened to them, I don't know. They must have sold them to the civilians after the war or something like that. And it was a bad thing, but I was a good mechanic. They sent me to schools for it. I went to body school, I went to an engineering school, went to tank schools and all this stuff before they sent me overseas. But that was my life, fixing cars and trucks, like that. Never got to the front lines, never got to shoot nobody, but that was my life, fixing the cars for the people up in the front lines, you know. And my brother Tony, oh, I think I told you that. No, I didn't. My brother Tony was in the infantry. He was training while I was in Germany, and he was up in the front lines, and he stepped on a landmine, blew his leg off. And then the Red Cross got a hold of me. It took me all the way back from Germany, back through France, back across the Channel to England to see my brother. And I did get to see him that night. And then the next day I had to leave. Only one night I had to stay. And they sent me back. And the Red Cross made arrangements to get me back across the Channel and back to my outfit to get back up in Germany. But that was my life over there. That's but like I say, never got injured except smashed my finger one time. Doing a clutch job on the Jeep, and the jack slipped and smashed my finger all the hell. You know. But other than that, as far as getting hurt, that's the only hurt I ever had. This that you see in my head, that was surgery I had after the war. Was a brain tumor I had in my head. That's what they did there. They cut it out. But other than that, my life was 3 years in the service, 2 years overseas and 1 year here, going to schools and all that. That's my story. If you want to ask me any questions, you can, you know. I'll see if I can answer them.
Should we talk about the pictures you brought too?
Yeah. Oh. This is a picture of me when I was in the service. These are all Southern people. Mean guys they were. They get drunk, they didn't know what the hell they were doing, you know. And, so we took this one picture like this. See it? That's me. And I'm 90 years old right now. Okay? So that was only 21 years old then, at that time. See, honey? That's me. And I was only 19 or 20 years old.